Joe here. Welcome to week 6 in CIT15. Hope you're doing well. It was a beautiful weekend here. Finally got a little break from the rain, which is amazing, the amount of rain we've gotten in California. In some areas of California, this has been a real issue. If you haven't been following the dam situation, holy mac. When people say evacuate, evacuate, okay? So just saying. Yeah, I'd like to cover some topics really important to our class today. And I'm going to start with this one and I'll move to our course. Is that I have provided in our course a link to the CIT tutor schedule so that if you're in need of some additional help, definitely reach out to Daniel. And here's his schedule. He's a great guy, very helpful. So when you need extra help, please contact him so that you can get what you need. And he is somewhat familiar with the way my class runs because he's actually taking one of my classes, advanced classes, and he's familiar pretty much with the stuff we cover here, even though he hasn't taken my specific course. But he's a great resource. You should reach out when you need additional help. And having said that, reach out to me as well, right? My schedule is on the syllabus as well, so that if you need help, coming to see me is really recommended. Okay, so the topics I'm going to talk about is the word lab test that you have this week. At the end of this week, so a week from this day, which is Monday, you'll have your first lab test that you'll do. And I'll just move to this. So in the item where you submit it, and you're submitting it just like you would any other My IT Lab work, but the way you do it is different. So you do have to have Microsoft Word. In this video, in a previous semester, I talked about the process of downloading. So here's what you're doing. You're downloading two files, an instruction file and the actual beginning document. You do the work based on the instruction. You submit it into My IT Lab. It'll tell you what you got wrong, if anything, and then you can actually modify your original submission file, upload it again, and then check the results and upload it again. So the key to this is making sure you keep that file you're downloaded and that you're working on with you so that you can resubmit it. Otherwise, you have to start over, and that's a bummer. So just make sure you're following along. I do talk about that if you get Microsoft Word from the campus email accounts, which there's a link here, not here, but actually in the syllabus for doing that. But this talks about if you run into that cover page, because when you download Word from the campus email, it's the latest version. And you and the lab test and simulations have been covering the 2013 version. So you may not have this cover letter, and I provide a workaround for getting that done. Okay, so really important just to understand and track these two videos. The last video is really the one you've always had about reporting test or reporting scores. And most of you are doing a fine job of doing that. So that is not as important as these first two. Okay, the other thing about this is that and I will open the syllabus, which I think I have here. I don't, so let me go into it. The other important thing to understand about the word lab test is it counts for more than anything we've had so far in this class. So because we have 3 lab tests, it counts for 5% of your grade. So get it done on time, do the best that you can in a way to help improve your overall grade. Now, having said that too, FYI, because we're still at the beginning relatively stages, and I suspect you've already seen this, any item missed will significantly impact your grade because your grade is only calculated based on the items that you have. But as we move forward, that becomes less so. And so I've seen many of you getting caught up, which is awesome, using the late points returned, which is awesome. So I'm glad you're understanding that process. If you're not understanding that you can submit late work, first, yes, you can. It is discounted. And then if you want points back, and I'll just show you this in the course I've given, and I've talked about this even last week in classwork, the ability to get late points back. And this is combined with the class chat link. So in this item, and I recommend actually, many of you are on class chat, but if you're not, consider getting on because it's a really great way to get help when I'm not around from your fellow classmates. So those 2 items are there. Okay, talking really fast this morning. Just a word about the embed versus the direct link. So when you're working in Canvas, I've shown both ways to do that, and that's totally fine, right? But it never hurts to, let's just go over it, right? So when you're here, you're going to provide a link to this file. Remember, the first time you click, it doesn't give you what I said you needed, which is first open in a new window. And then when you open in a new window, you get the embed item. Now that only works when you're working in Canvas. That does not work when you're working in Google Doc. Okay, so just FYI, I'm going to go ahead and grab this because I've only seen this a couple times, but I have seen it. So when you're posting in our class the embed code, and I'm just going to show you, it doesn't really matter where I do it because it's all the same as far as the way it works. Just taking it a minute to get in there, probably because there's so much content in there, right? So when you open up your reply, you have to click the HTML, paste the code, click back and get on Rich Editor. So what this is basically doing is writing the code or placing the code into there, right? So that's embed. So the other way you can do this, and I'm just going to get rid of this real quick, okay, is a direct link, right? And that's where you would write, my link here. And again, this is a little bit of a review. You hit this. Now here you wouldn't embed the code. You'd actually have to come back over here, grab this URL. Now this URL is pointing directly to the file. And some of you have done this where you're giving me the folder directory, and that's not what I want, right? Or the folder, yeah, link to your folder. I want a link to the file. So the way that you get that, let me just, sorry about this, right? So if you come back here, when you double click, if you're direct linking, you don't grab it here because this shows you the folder and you can actually see it in the name. It's when you open in a new window, right? And notice how it says file. You can actually see the difference, right? So I'm going to go ahead and select that. So when you're doing a direct link, wrong one, right? Then you would paste that in, insert, and that's where I showed now how to go into the HTML and do the target blank underscore blank. Now I think actually Canvas may be doing this automatically because I'm noticing it works for everyone, and I'm guessing everyone hasn't done it, but the good news is that's the difference, right? So I just wanted to show you the difference between the embed and the direct link, and just to say that when you're working on Google Docs, you can only do a direct link, or you can drag the file into the Google Doc, but you can't embed in Google Doc, okay? Embed only works in Canvas. Cool. Okay, so the other thing is the My IT Lab support. So some of you have been reporting to me issues of My IT Lab, and I've said, contact them. Let me give you an incentive to contact them, not only to get help, but if you contact them and you get a support tag or a ticket number and you report back to me that ticket number, I will give you the points back on the item that you reported. Now, I do this because I know it's kind of a pain to contact My IT Lab. Okay, so I'm trying to incentivize you to do it because some of you are just like, it doesn't work and you're moving on to the next one, which by the way is fine to do. I'm sorry that you're having issue, but if you do report it and get a ticket back, I will give you points back. You just have to communicate with me through Canvas telling me what the ticket numbers that you got were, and then I'll give you those points back. Okay, the other thing I would say, and this is totally optional, is that part of the reason I think students don't contact My IT Lab is the amount of time that it takes. So one of the things you could do, there's some free software I'll show you a link to in a second, but you could create a little screencast. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm doing here. And if you would spend just a few minutes showing us what the issue that you are having, send that to me, then I will also give you the points back for that. Okay, now this is you submitting it to me because what I do is I end up submitting it to them, but I am giving you that option because I know it takes longer to get support depending on their availability. So let me just show you what this looks like. You could go to a website called Screencast-O-Matic. Okay, Screencast-O-Matic is a free software. that you can use to create a screencast like I'm doing here. I use a different product. This is a great product though, up to 15 minutes, I think, and it works great. It's basically you setting this up, selecting the part of your screen so that we can see the issues that you're having, and then it gives you the ability, if you want, to upload to YouTube. You can also, I think, grab the file and then just put it up in the shared with Rio if you want, the file meaning the output file. I'm not going to go into this in detail because if you want to learn this, by the way, great skill to have, do that, and that's another way for you to report issues and get points back. Okay? All right, so let me come back here. Last thing I will talk about is the chapter quizzes. So some of you may have realized this already. Matter of fact, Allison did. She reported it to me, and I actually reported it to my IT lab. So if you went to YouTube and you looked at my channel, I've reported two my IT lab issues. One last week with the test banks, one the week before with the word 3. So if you keep an eye on that, you may see me reporting as well. But I'm giving you the ability today to report yourself this way. It's just an easier way, by the way, to get support or to show people the issues that you're having. So it's kind of taking print screens to the next level. But the reason I came in here was to say that I know, based on Allison's feedback, is that the chapter 5 quiz that you have for tonight has many questions from chapter 4. And there's nothing I can do about it at this point. So congratulations. Hopefully you've seen those questions before, you know what they are, and you may run again this in a future quiz, but we're hoping to fix this. But I can't fix quizzes that have been already submitted. So don't worry about it. You'll get points for doing them ahead of time. But if I do find that there's a fix, I will submit it in future chapters if that is indeed something they've figured out has happened in multiple ones. But until then, just FYI, if you see questions, know that you may have had them before in a previous chapter. Okay, hope you have a great week 6. Hard to believe it's week 6, I know. You seem to be tracking well. The feedback that most of you gave me and your grades actually are affecting most of you doing really well in this class. Even though I know there is a bit of work, time management is a key. So congratulations. And for those of you catching up, you can do this. Just get caught up. The sooner you get caught up, the better. And have a great week. Talk to you soon. Bye.